Penelo. I know I have her somewhere, but I can't actually remember using her. For that matter, when was the last time a dancer unit was introduced? The last one I remember was Primrose from Octopath Traveler, and then probably Soleil. In case you couldn't tell, I haven't really used dancers that often. Dancing Heart Penelo's Trustmaster reward is a materia called Desert Bloom, which boosts magic by 40% and further boosts the unit's magic when they're holding a single weapon in both hands. It's great if you're using a unit that tends to only hold one rod anyways. Her Super Trustmaster reward, Rabinaster Dancer's Clothing, gives 71 magic and further boosts it by 40%. Keep in mind that it's not considered a robe, it's plain clothes. Depending on your magic damage dealer, this may cause them to lose a few of their magic boosting passives. But even with that being said, it happens to be one of the highest magic boosting clothes equipment in the game. Let's move on to her active abilities. Mist Shauga mitigates magic damage by 30% and boosts your team's spirit by 150%, which is relatively low. She has 3 different Chaos Wave Awakened elemental attacks: Fire, Ice, and Dark. Each will imperil the enemy by their respective element by 100%, as well as imbue Penelo with that same element. She also has Mist Turaja, which just heals your team. Every bit of extra utility is always useful, especially when you can cast this without disrupting their game plans by a large amount. She also has Mist Banish, which lets one ally dodge 2 attacks for 3 turns. It's not as capable as Seeker of Freedom Vaughn's ability, as generally you'd want your entire team to dodge an attack. Then there's Mincing Minuet, which breaks all of the enemy stats by 70% and deals not that much damage when you look at the rest of her attacks. Finally, she can use Luminescence, a Oreo Ray Chaining ability that cannot be casted multiple times. This particular ability is a physical attack, so it can make use of her imbues. Unfortunately, she needs a few more magic chaining partners to help her in that regard, though you can certainly use someone who deals physical damage. Now to address her cooldown abilities. Channeling boosts her magic by 250% for 5 turns, restores 20% of her MP gauge, and changes the effects of her elemental attacks, increasing their damage and the imperos to a massive 130%. It's also on a 3-turn cooldown, which is extremely short compared to every other character's startup ability. Then she can use Ardor, a Chaos Wave Awaken attack that imperils the enemy's fire resistance by 130% and massively increases the damage of her fire attacks. Next, her passives. She has an innate Guts effect and is immune to Confusion and Charm. She has a powerful magic killer against beasts and humans, and a small MP regen as well. Let's move to the magic slot. She can use Libra, Dispel, and Reflect, 3 spells that are useful to varying degrees. Her Limit Burst decreases the enemy's ice resistance by 130%, increases her magic by 250%, and increases the damage of her ice attacks. I honestly expected it to benefit her fire attacks in some way, but maybe I'm just missing a reference to Final Fantasy XII or something. Well, regardless, the ability to excel in both fire and ice is an excellent boon that gives her a bit more variety. With that out of the way, let's create a damage rotation for her. On turn 1, you'd use Channeling, Ardor, and Mist Faraga. Then, on turn 2, you'd triple cast Mist Faraja. On turn 3, triple cast the attack once again. From here on out, it's really rinse and repeat. You don't have to use Channeling immediately if you would rather keep up the chains, but the casual MP restore may be helpful to you in the long run. If you don't want to use fire attacks, simply activate her Limit Burst as soon as possible and cast her ice elemental attacks instead. So that's it. How good is Dancing Heart Penelo? She's a capable magic damage dealer who can confidently use 2 different elements with an impressive show of strength. Of course, you can use her dark elemental attacks if you wish. There are a lot of powerful Dark Chaos Wave Awaken attackers after all. Her other utility is a bit narrow to see much use. The evasion can be useful, but that's very situational. Her breaks are only 70%, and her defenses aren't that high either. But regardless, it's always better that you have the freedom to use those attacks, though you do have to question if you'll really use them in the long run. With that in mind, Dancing Heart Penelo may not be a very future-proof magic damage dealer, as the only thing she consistently brings to the table is damage. On another note, for being a dancer, she doesn't seem to have any dancer-like supporting effects. I guess this is because she's more of a mage now. I haven't played Final Fantasy XII, so I don't know if this is reflective of her original capabilities. Feel free to inform me of my ignorance in the comments below, but make sure to leave a like and subscribe before you do.